Do, 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 do. Okay. I think can you all see me now? Yay! My internet disappeared. My internet is being my internet again. So let us see. Ooh, you can see my bookshelves. Okay. So I think this is actually pretty cool. Is it? It is? It is? Is it? It is. It is. I am 100% certain that a few number of people will be present because your girl did zero, none, nada publicity for this live show because I was ill. I am ill. I am still ill. I am recovering. What am I ill from? Would this be TMI? But then again, my entire channel is mostly about TMI, isn't it? Well, I got the triple threat, which is malaria, typhoid, and food poisoning. Yes, you heard that right. I have malaria, typhoid, and food poisoning, and I have been out of commission for weeks. For weeks. I spent the second week in August feeling very under the weather. Compub is like, I want to join you. I want to come on. Hey, baby. Mm, look at you. Look at you. Okay, so let us see. Do we want to? Do you want to? Do you want to? It's like, Compub. Oh my God. He's heavier. He's heavier. I am fine, thank you. Thank you so much, Rain. I'm fine. Feeling much better. I have been taking my meds, which has been hard because your girl hates taking medication. I have a deep-seated fear for it that is really connected to a childhood trauma. So I have not been taking, like, I hate taking meds, and I had to take this bunch of meds for the various things that was like going on, everything else. But I feel much better now. Thank you for asking. Thank you. Lord, it was, yes, it was actually very trying. It's been a very trying last couple of weeks. As I was saying before, Compop decided that I needed to pay attention to him. Yes. Oh, I thought I was the only one. My mother kept saying that as an adult, I should not have such a visceral fear for meds. And I'm like, nah, I still, I'm terrified of them. They still fucking scare me. She does not. Compop has decided that he's going to turn my inhaler into, yeah, a toy. Gotta love that cat. So she was like, oh, the older you get, blah blah blah. Adults are not scared of medication. So thank you so much, Train. I need to call my mother. Not tonight because it's already late. It's already past 10 p.m. here in Lagos. But I need to call my mother and inform her that I know people. I'm not the only one who hates taking medication. Thank you. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. But I'm feeling much better. Like I said, uh, the first week in August, I was feeling very under the weather. Second week, it got really bad, and I could not go to work anymore. Third week was when I actually started taking medication, and this is the fourth week. So, for those that are like trying to calculate it out, wait a minute. Yes, you're right. I was ill on my birthday. It was the most. I was miserable on my birthday. I hate being ill, but I'm glad I'm not the only one that is terrified of meds. I'm just happy. So I guess we'll just make this a very chatty, very slightly calm, very slightly peaceful conversation about the group book for the Fuckathon, which is We Do This Till We Free Us by Miriam Kaba, Abolitionist Organizing and Transforming Justice. I love this book. I adore this book. I want to reread this book because I think the very first time I read it, I think I went like really fast. I went through it like really, really fast. So there is that. But I really did enjoy it. Um, yeah, my birthday should have been more fun than sick. I'm just a part of me was like, did I bring it on up on myself? Because my mom is always like, you have to be more careful. My friends are always like, you have to be more careful. And I was like, yeah, shit happens. And I was just looking forward to my birthday. And then I got hit with the illness. And the part of me is just like, I could have been having fun today. I should have been eating and my malaria symptoms come with a loss of appetite and my mouth is very bitter. So nothing I eat tastes good. Now imagine having your birthday and every single thing you're eating is making you nauseous and making you feel like shit because it tastes like cardboard. In fact, it tastes what cardboard does not have any taste. Technically, it's paper. This tastes bitter, like you're taking like bitter medication when I eat. It was horrible, horrible. I got given cake that I could not enjoy because it was just horrible. It was just horrible. So yeah, thank you so much for the sympathy. I appreciate the fact that God, I feel like it was just horrible. Hi, Amy. Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I know you have not finished. You've not read this yet, but it's no problem. I can talk about it enough for all of us actually. But I just was wondering, Train, have you read it? Were you able to read We Do This Till We Free Us? Because I know my problem with a lot of nonfiction is that they are very dense books. But that's also the reason why I really love them because it's a case of really taking them in bits and just like letting the words settle and letting the words sink. And also for me, it's also amazing because it means that I can do a reread very, very soon. And I cannot wait. I'm going to do another reread before the end of the year, definitely. Um, because I think that this book is necessary. I think that this book is necessary and I think it's needed. And I think that the problem is in when you talk about abolishing prisons, the prison industrial complex, and abolishing the police, I think a lot of the time we're so conditioned to immediately react with the, oh my God, if that is taken away, then what do we have? Like, what is the other option available? And okay, you're reading it. Nice. Are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying it? Because I would say personally for me, there were some things that Miriam Kaba said, and I was just like, yo, like my instinctual response was shaking my head, and then I had to sit down and think about it. I'm like, I'll get back to it in a bit, but I think that she has a lot of very uncomfortable conversations in this book, and she's very much aware that what she's like the conversations she's having is very uncomfortable because when you're talking about abolishing the prison industrial complex, you're talking about, you're having this conversation not just with regular citizens and everything else, but you're also having these conversations with like victims and victims' families. And it's just there's a part where she acknowledges the fact that some of this is going to be very uncomfortable and some people might even think inappropriate. And I was like, thank God that you do call that out, Miriam. But she adds so much points. Um, and I would say that I finished this book with a realization that abolitionism is not a goal, right? Sure, the end vision is to abolish the PICs, right? But it's more about the journey, the being, the struggle, the road to get there, right? As opposed to the goal. And when when I had that realization reading this book, everything just shifted for me, because a lot of the time when we have these conversations, I always think about the end point, right? And not just myself. I have spoken to so many of my friends, so many other colleagues, and we've had these conversations, and everybody's always just thinking about the end point and not necessarily the process itself, which I think is, which Mariam Kaba does really highlight the struggles and how important it is. So happy almost birthday, Trin. It's almost your birthday. Oh my God, October. Let me see. My best friend's birthday is in October. So now I'm curious as to what day in October your birthday is, because she's a Scorpio. I love her. I love all Scorpios, but I really love Uke. She tries my patience sometimes, but I love her. Um okay. So speaking of best friends, and I think that that's a perfect segue to what I wanted to say. A couple of months ago, was it a couple of months ago? Was it like late last year? I think it was late last year. So late last year, my bestie and I, we were having a conversations, right? And you all know everything that happened with this NSAS protest um, was in, I think it was in October, which Train said October 31st. What? That is, ooh, spooky season. You were born in spooky season. That's awesome. Yeah, so I was saying that we had that conversation last year during the NSAS protest. Now, for those that have no idea what I'm talking about, there's a special police force unit in Lagos in Nigeria called SARS. They're meant to be the special anti-robbery squad, but they are just basically yet another extension of the police force, given to lots of brutalizations, lots of torture, murder, etc., like the old gamut. And last year there was a nationwide protest. Everybody came out. I came out. I went for the protest. I was going like practically every day. Basically, we're calling for them to end the unit, and we're calling for police reforms. And throughout this conversation, because my best friend is not in Nigeria at the moment, she's getting a doctorate degree. We were having the conversation about, I am really pro abolishing the police, because fuck the police. Yes, that is one of the problems for the FuckAthon. Fuck the police. So I'm for abolishing the entire police system. Okay, it's for um she said she was more of a, oh, she thinks that things can be fixed, that there needs to be some form of restructuring of the system put in place. I don't believe in restructuring, because I think that that is the lie that the society, and by society I mean governmental powers that use the police as a form of brutalization of its citizens, and to also to clamp down on us, the entire structure it is, needs the police. And no matter what they say about restructuring, they're never really going to restructure it. So I'm all for pull the whole fucking system down, burn it to ash. uh, we don't need it, and okay, his response has always been yes, but what happens next? And it's the same thing when I tell her that I don't believe in the prison system. I think, like Miriam perfectly captures in this book, it's just the it's rooted in racism, right? It's rooted in racism, it's rooted in the brutalization of black and bodies of other people of color, the other or black bodies and bodies of other people of color. It is definitely a system of also still enslaving people to benefit, the complex in itself, that just likes to manufacture as many inmates as possible to further its own ends. So I tell her I don't believe in prisons. Now I know people are like, Noria, you're in Nigeria. Yes, but the policing system came into being in Nigeria as a result of colonialism, right? So the British, because we had a system of restorative justice, right? We had a system of our own internal policing that was in our pre-colonized cultures, and the arrival of the British colonialists was they came with it this policing structure which was quite similar to what was happening in other parts of the world, a case of brutalization, punishments, a way to keep the Nigerians and black bodies in line, in check, you know. So that was what they used the police for, and that was also what they used the prisons for. Because there was no, oh, we sentence you to so and so years in prison before they came. It didn't happen like that. Yes, do I think that our structures were perfect? No. Do I think that there were certain things that were happening during that time that I definitely think should not have been happening? Of course. But I would say that policing as it exists today and prisons as they exist today are also relics of a colonialist past that I am all for kicking to the fucking curb. So, okay, I was like, yeah, but what, like, you're all for abolishing these things? You're saying fuck the police, you're saying fuck the prisons. I was like, yes, but what are you doing to Ah, finally, I'm back. I swear. I am so sorry, y'all. My internet has been like, we're testing your patience. I thought you were like, I'm a baby abolitionist. Okay, what is that going to do for you? So I am so, so sorry, everybody. Apologies. Okay, so I am back. Can you all see me? Can you all hear me? I know Trin said that my screen froze. That was when my internet went off. So can you all see me now? Can you all hear me? Margaret said, just saw the thumbnail book and dropped in to say, woo, it's on my to read. It's on my to read list. I'm like, I definitely highly. Oh, my subs are patient. Thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate it. I'm telling you, somebody should do a meme. Somebody be like Noria and her internet. I swear, I will do the meme. Yes, because I'm the only one allowed to make fun of my own internet. Actually, my friends also. But Margaret, yes, I'm happy that this is on your to read list. I think that it's a very, very crucial, important book. And as I was saying before, my internet decided to just go off. Okay, and I were having a conversation, right? And she was like, okay, so if this goes off, then if we're all for abolishing the police, the prison industrial system, defunding the police, totally and completely eradicating that shitty ass system as it is, what do we have? Because she's like, okay, what happens to the the murderers, the rapists, blah blah blah, and everything else. And I am not proud to say that when she asked that question, I didn't have an answer, because she was like, okay, what happens? How do you make society safer if you remove the police and prisons? My instinctual answer was that I don't really think the police are protecting us much. We would not be having an NSAS protests all over the world. People will not be shouting that Black Lives Matter. We will not be protesting police brutality if they were actually keeping us safe. So like that was my answer to her then, but I couldn't go into more details because I didn't really know much. And I think that that is where literature and that is where reading comes in handy. And that is where a book like We Do This Till We Free Us really comes in handy, because Miriam Kaba explores that in this book. I remember when I started and I said that the whole point of abolitionism is that it is not, don't look at it as an end goal, an end point, look at it as a work in progress. Because the whole point is, because, okay, its rightful question was, what would we replace the prisons and the police with? And that was what I did not have an answer to. And now I've read this book and I can tell her, if we have this conversation again, not if, because when we have this conversation again, because it's an ongoing conversation that we always have, it's a case of what will replace it is what we decide as a community. Because that's the beauty of restorative justice. Restorative justice is an acknowledgement of the fact that a lot of the things that happen within the community is not just limited to an individual, right? You have to remember that a lot of these things are societal and structural. You have a society that pushes for some of these behaviors and the way in which they exhibit them, and it's the same thing. We were having a conversation at work and we're saying that the rate of like armed robbery in Lagos has skyrocketed. Like it has been insane. I can't bring out my laptop to work in a car on my way home from work. Like, nah, I don't even take my laptop with me. I try my best not to take like such valuables with me, because I repeat, the rate of armed robbery in Lagos has skyrocketed. And it is easy for us to say, oh, this person robbed this person and shot this person, tossed the person in jail, when you are not acknowledging the fact that there's a structural system in place that has led to that happening. In this case, in Lagos, there has been a sharp increase in unemployment. When I say sharp, I mean more than 50% increase in unemployment rates. And we have a currency that is getting devalued by the day. It's fast turning worthless. People are not having jobs. There's no structure in place with regards providing them with homes, providing them with food, providing them with jobs, providing them with anything. Society as a whole is failing everyone on such a mass scale. And people who are pro police and pro prisons would look at such a thing, the sharp rise in armed robbery, and be like, oh, if you catch a thief, just toss them in jail and all of that. And I'm like, yeah, but would that solve the problem that led to it in the first place? And that is what restorative justice pushes for. It is not a punitive measure, a means of punishment, but the case of, if we as a society collectively come together to fix the root of this situation, to understand that this is not um, driven by the individual, but driven by a more structural problem, then it's better. But society, and by society, now when I say society and when I say structure, I think there's a need for me to always like separate them. because even in my head I'm like, oh, it can get like confusing. There's society when I'm talking about you and I as people within a group, like a group of people living within a community, in a country, etc., etc. That's society. And then there's society and a structure with regards the powers that be, governmental bodies, that are controlling things behind the scene. Mm? And then there's also the structure with regards, biases and everything else that comes into being. So these are different terminologies that are similarly, they might seem similar in the sense that I'm saying the same words, but I mean them in totally different ways. So um in this case, what I mean is that when I say society in this, I mean the powers that be, right? And let me just say, because I know a lot of these books, they tackle the US a lot. A lot of publishing is very US centric. Was say very diplomatically, but I don't know diplomacy. I suck at diplomacy. But the world is not limited to US, right? The America is not the world. The global south is big. And we also have a policing system. We also have a policing problem, right? And so when I say the society, I mean like the powers that be, right? They need the police to work. The police does not serve the people. The police does not serve the people. They have us convinced that, oh, the police come, they catch bad guys, they maintain law and order, blah, blah, blah. Let me give an example in Lagos, right? And I'm certain, I think I want this to be very conversational. So I'm definitely down for your questions, your comments. If you've read the book, if you're interested in reading the book, if you have if you need clarifications on what I'm saying, please just drop it in the comments, right? But like I was saying, let's take Lagos for example. Lagos is a heavily militarized state. I always say that I believe that a lot of Nigerians, Lagosians, that's people living in Lagos, including myself, and Nigerians, everybody living in Nigeria, right? Nigerians, but particularly Lagosians, we deal with an extended PTSD, right? Take, for instance, NSARS, there was a mass murder of protesters. No justice has been served. In fact, the government went through this great length to gaslight us into thinking that it's all in our head. It's not all in our head, by the way. But like that is how the system works. Mm? So there is that. In Lagos, let's give an example. Let's say that um, you can hear gunshots, right? Let's say you hear gunshots, like pim, 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 pim. And you're like, oh, my neighbor is blah, blah, blah. The way in which these systems and structures in place would be like, call the police, they would help. No. One, the police do not show up. Two, when they show up, they come in very, very late. In fact, there has been instances where people have been like, oh, call the police, and the police is like, oh, would you send us money to buy fuel in our car? We'll come and save you otherwise, right? They don't show up. They are very lax in their duties. In fact, it is not uncommon to discover that a lot of the guns that are used for the robbery are gotten from police officers, right? And this is Lagos. This is outside of the US. It's the same thing if it is that you have been sexually assaulted and don't even bother, because they will find a way to victim blame you. They will find a way to make the entire process even more traumatic for you. That is how the policing system works here. And it works the same way in quite a lot of countries, because I have spoken to friends that are all over the world. And it's sad because when it is that we make cries to defund the police, to totally end policing as it is right now, the kickback or the response we always get is that, okay, but who will protect your communities? Who would help your communities? Right? And when we say, oh, we want to call for an end to, we want people to abolish prisons, they say, okay, what would you do with all the rapists and murderers and blah, 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 and everything else? And they forget that that is why restorative justice is something that we need. And because restorative justice focuses on the harm that has been committed against the victim, the society that is feeling the reverberations of that harm, and even the perpetrator, who is quite a lot of the time, not all the time, but quite a lot of the time, also a victim of a failed state and a failed system. And policing and the prison industrial complex would never have these conversations. They don't have the nuance, they're not interested, they just want more people to toss into cell, into a jail, close the door, and forever forget. And like there was a part where Miriam mentions in this book that a lot of the people that push for these things, they always have this conversation like, okay, but Avi Weinstein went to jail, right? Nassar went to jail, and all of that, bringing this individual names, and saying that, but see, that means that the justice system, justice, and is it really justice or is it vengeance, right? That's another conversation. But they're like, oh, justice system works. This person, that person, they all went to jail. And you wonder when you think about the fact that there are a lot more people who actually committed these crimes who are not in prison, right? And then there's also the fact that there's a very disproportionate number of black folks in prison, people of color in prison compared to their white counterparts, because, like I said, racism also plays a factor in that. But when these conversations are had, it's very convenient for the side that is pro prisons and pro police to just ignore all of that, the nuance of that conversation. They just totally and completely, skittle by it and just ignore it. And they push it as far, oh, people that want to abolish prisons, people that want to, totally and completely dismantle the policing system. We're all living in a dream. It cannot happen. But why can it not happen? It has happened before. Like I stated, a lot of modern day policing and prisons are a result of colonialism, right? Colonialists and people going to other countries to enforce these rules because, according to them, there has to be law and order. Law and order has been one of the biggest fallacies that has been fed as a means to justify these things, to keep them present, to keep funding bodies through these complexes. The reason why, people have conversations about a school to prison system, especially because it affects black and brown kids disproportionately, is because we know that these things happen. We know that these things are in place. But there's just a level of ignorance that, that always comes up when these conversations are had. So, like, I really, really enjoyed this book. I think that this book is a necessary read. A necessary read, even if it is that you're pro police and pro prisons. And she was mentioning it because what is the systems of accountability? What is the systems of reparation and restoration with regards to the victims' families and the communities? Like, these are conversations that the police and prisons would never be able to have because it's not a concept that they understand. It's not a conversation that they can have. So, like I was saying, I think I found it very interesting. I found it very thought provoking. I felt that, okay, these were conversations to be had. Do I think that as a baby, and I say baby because I definitely do need to read more, I need to really be more involved, but as a baby abolitionist, baby, uh, do I think that I have the goal to go and meet a grieving family whose family is like suffering a loss of, like, recoiling from the trauma of a brutal incidents involving the police. Do I even go and say, oh, this is this? Like, it's a case of what the family needs to heal. It's a case of what is a celebration of a life that was unjustly taken. It's a case of what is the recompense, the reparations, the accountability, the push for it not to repeat itself. Because that's the thing. The prison industrial complex needs there to be a repeat, because it is by there being a repeat of this same infliction of violence and trauma within our communities that they can get enough bodies to fund their system. So the prison industrial complex needs there to be a repetition of this traumatic event, this violence that is meted out. Restorative justice pushes for there to be no repeat, because that is what benefits the community. That is what provides healing. That is what gives us a way forward. And I think that is very interesting, not very interesting, but very needed to have that clear distinction in mind. Because ultimately, one side cares more for the victims and their families and the community, and the other one does not give a shit and is just thinking about money, about being able to flex some sort of power trip, about being able to treat certain bodies as being less than, not worthy of protection, not worthy of defense. Because like Miriam mentions, the irony of like having people who basically um in rightful acts of self-defense try to protect themselves, right? From a teenage girl who is caught in involved in survival sex and kills one of her johns who was threatening her, and who is sent to jail for decades because of it, compared to, and that is a rightful threat to her life. Or the wife who has been abused and who shoots warning shots and is sent to jail for 51 years. Compare that with a police officer who barges into a woman's house and shoots her while she's asleep because threats, their lives are threatened. Like, one system values, considers the lives and bodies of black and brown people as being less than compared to the other system. It's just, it's sad but true. And it's once again yet another reason why certain things have to just be abolished completely. I would always be I would always push for that. And I would definitely, I'm all about learning more with regards, making that a reality. Because it's not, and it's interesting because there's a part of this book that talks about how it's definitely more of something in the future. I don't think, I don't want to say it would never happen, but there's a high, it's a very slopey hill to get to full abolition. But your point is to make little drops and little contributions for that final push, right? To get to that end point, which is why I said that the fact that I had to realign myself and understand that abolition, the push for abolition, is more about the process itself and the journey and not the end goal. Because your girl is very focused on this is what the finishing point is. And I think that when you take that lesson as well into other things like protesting, and like I once again, I'm going to bring Nigeria into it, and because like life is not centered solely in the United States, in America, in the West, um, us protesting, us pushing for systematic reforms, us pushing for a restructuring in our government. Like, this book made me realize that actual change with regards to these things, with regards structural change, take time. But what you can do right now as your own person is push for it step by step. Your little contribution just keep adding it and it builds and it can transform and it will transform. And even if it is that it is one person's life that you're able to touch and change and improve and help, it's a win for that person, for for their family, for their community. Okay, so I think I'm going to does anybody have any questions or thoughts that they want to like add at this point? Because your girl has been talking non-stop. I think I just talked non-stop for like 10 minutes at the very least. Was it up to 10 minutes? What it up to 10 minutes? I don't know. And besides, this is actually more of a FuckAthon, the group book, the books we read for the FuckAthon, and any other books we're reading at the moment, because your girl is curious. So yes, no comment yet. Okay. Um, like I said, I read We Do This to Inferiors by Miriam Kaba for the FuckAthon. This covered my read the group book prompt and also fuck the police prompt, which I think is amazing. I also read Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, which fits, interestingly enough, not only my focus, which fit. Ah, shoot, I have like a twinge on my side. Hmm. Do you know? I read somewhere like, yo, the way in which women like get heart attacks is a bit different from men. Like, you're like, oh, but us, we just feel like twinges. And since then, every single time I felt a twinge, I'm always like, ah, I'm having a heart attack. It's just weird. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, Black Sun. Okay, me. I'll wait. Okay, so I read Black Sun, which I picked for my fuck colonialism, like as my read for fuck colonialism, because of course it covers pre-Columbian not only mythology, histories, cultures, because Christopher Columbus did not discover shit. Just saying. Um, it was. I felt like that world, the world building that Rebecca Roanhorse gave us in Black Sun, is just mind-blowingly good. I love the fact that it was a depiction of a world that was rich in history and culture, and you could see the bits where they, drew inspiration from traditional everyday situations. Not traditional everyday situations, but like, okay, what were their form of communications? How were they writing? What gods were they worshiping, etc., etc.? How were their buildings built? What kind of dresses were they wearing? How could you differentiate like different peoples? I absolutely adored it. I also loved the characters. My favorite character, though. My favorite character is a teak woman who can turn into half fish and is a captain and is missing a pinky finger. I don't want to mention any names because I don't want to actually do any form of spoilers. But let's just say that by the time I finished Black Sun, your girl was in pain because I was like, I need the next book. And then I don't know where in my head I legitimately thought that that series was a duology. So I was like, okay, now that I finished Black Sun, I just need to be patient. Book two will be out next year, and I would read it and then, right? Because like that was legitimately what I was thinking. But it's a trilogy. It's a trilogy, people. And I'm just over here and I'm like, okay, so what I need to just keep my fingers crossed for and pray hard for is that the third book is released in 2023. But I doubt if it will be released in 2023. Because, okay, well, technically, I think it might be 2 years because Black Sun came out last year. Your girl is just hoping. Anyway, Black Sun covered fuck colonialism, like I said, and fuck the gender binary because there is a non-binary character in the book who I also love because, like, the minute they were like the priest of knives, I was like, bring it through my. I'm just, I'm just saying, I love them. I love it. Uh, and interestingly enough, I think that were those all the books? Yeah, I only read two books between July and August because July, like I already told you all, was a horrible month for me with regards things that happened with regards work. August was a horrible month for me because I was ill. So those were the two books I read for the Fuckathon. I still intend to read An Unkindness of Ghosts. I am starting that in September. And I'm also reading A Song of Wraith and Ruin because I started A Song of Wraith and Ruin. Excuse me. Goddamn. I started The Song of Wraith and Ruin. I started These Violets Delight. I think I read up to like 100 pages and I started Nubia as well. But I just couldn't finish them. Everything was just a mess and I was like, nah, I would rather put these books down and come back to them in September than force myself to read them and not enjoy them because you all know I'm like reading brings me too much joy. I don't want to force myself into a reading slump. So that was it. And I also intend to read Six Crimson Cranes by Joanne E because that book is gorgeous. It's pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. I love me Six Crimson Cranes. It's also a totally different mythology. Not mythology, a totally different fairy tale compared to all the ones we've been getting. So many Eurocentric fairy tales. I was thankful. I am still very, very thankful. So yes, those are the books I read for the Fuckathon. I read two books which covered four prompts out of the nine prompts. Oh no, 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 no. And then I did something for myself. I wanted to watch Black Widow, but I could not watch Black Widow. I don't know why. I can't remember. I'm still very, very iffy about going out to the cinema, right? Because we are still in the middle of a pandemic, right? The panini is just raging, and now with all the various variants that are coming out, I'm like, you all should just come together and do a Loki season two at this point. We'll call it Loki season two, the Corona effect. I'm telling you, like the COVID effect. Take that back. The COVID effect. Yes. So I did not go and watch Black Widow. What I did instead, right? I lit some candles, played some really good music, and held my cat. So that was how I fucked with myself. I was like, yeah, I needed something very low key, and I took it. But I could not think about going to the cinema. My boss went though, right? He said, "Oh, there were not that many people. A lot of people are like you; they're not necessarily going to the cinema." And I'm like, "You mean a lot of people have a high sense of self-preservation and have more sense? Because I am not going to the cinema." Did I sort of kind of slightly insult my boss in that regard? Yeah, yeah, I think I kind of did, but it's very good natured, so he just laughed about it. But yeah, that was what I did. So I ticked off five prompts, two books, and I had candles, music, etc., etc. So that's my next question. What did you all do for the fuck with yourself prompts? Also, did you read any books? What books did you read? What prompts did it fulfill? What were your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Your girl is curious. Also, like I said, any questions about We Do This Till We're Furious, please let me know. Ooh. I think my favorite part of this books as well, other than because this is a collection of different essays. Oh, no worries, no apologies needed, Gina. Hi, welcome. Like, you're not the only one that forgot it was today. I kind of forgot because once again, like I said, I am recovering. Um, I'm recovering, so I was just in bed all day. Actually, not all day. I helped a friend pack a little, and then I grabbed lunch, and then I came and napped. Like like the last 2 weeks I've been really big on me napping because my body is just trying to recover. So that was it. So yeah. Because I remember I set a reminder, I was like, oh, the live show is today. I should probably tweet about it, put out some things, do stuff on Instagram, just remind people. It's very low key. This should have happened at the end of July, and because we moved it to the end of August, I figured a lot of people would totally have missed it, right? So I was just like, that's probably going to happen. Also because I was like this live show, my plan is for it not to exceed, let's say, an hour and a half, because once again, your girl is recovering from malaria, typhoid, and food poisoning. If you are watching this as, rewatching this or watching it outside of the live show, take a drink every time I say malaria, typhoid, and food poisoning. Oh, and every time I say your girl is sick as fuck or recovering, right? But if you take a shot, you're just going to be drunk. Sorry, maybe you should not. Alcohol poisoning is a thing. Um, so you are not the only one that forgot, because I was meant to have set out reminders. Actually, I should have set out reminders starting from the start of this week, because I knew that I was moving it. I had moved it from end of July to end of August. But like I said, I was ill all the week, so it was just not going to happen. Amy, you fulfilled all the prompts. Oh my god! Yay! What book did you read? What were the books you read? I am very interested. What book did you read for Fuck with Polyamory? Right? I still have my book choice for Fuck with Polyamory is on my Kindle, because it's a Kindle Unlimited pick, so it's still on my Kindle. I'm going to still read it in September. Ooh, ooh! But speaking of, September is the magical readathon. It just occurred to me, I have not finalized on what books I. Dang. Thankfully, I have so many books. I'm certain I'm able to bring. I'm going to be able to read the books I already planned on reading for the FuckAthon, for the magical readathon, because the FuckAthon is magical. Y'all see what I did there? I slid it in. Okay. Apologies. Let me be serious. Um, let me be serious. Okay. So let me know what were some of the books you read for the prompts. I am very, very curious. Gina, your post in Discord and did the math to realize I was late but came right away. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Like I said, I'm just very grateful. I was convinced that I was going to be on this live show and I was going to be the only person. But like there are 6 people currently watching me right now, and I'm grateful because I repeat, I was convinced I was going to be the only person just talking to myself in this live show, talking about how much I love this book, which it just occurred to me that there was a part I wanted to say. Oh yes, the part I really loved about this book, because this is a collection of articles and essays that Marakaba has written, right? Like if you are big in abolitionist work, especially around New York, DC, she's a very big name in those circles, and she writes a lot of articles. She does not actually take pictures, like she does not take pictures. She does not want people to really like not associate, like she does not she wants the focus to be on the work, not on her herself, right? So a lot of people sometimes they recognize the articles, they recognize the essays, but they don't know it is her until like much later. So like I said, it's a collection and all of that, but I think my favorite parts about these books are the interviews, because they are like scattered about 4, 6 interviews scattered throughout this entire book that I think were really, really cool. Especially because I think my favorite was the one where she actually took the time to break down the difference between restorative justice and transformative justice, because I was also someone who did not know the difference. And especially not know the difference, but because they are such similar, not such similar, but they have such interconnecting areas that it's easy for people to just alternate them and treat them as synonyms of the other, and they are not. Like restorative justice and transformative justice are totally different, although there are elements of restorative justice in transformative justice and there are elements of transformative justice in restorative justice. Do I want to go into the details? No, because I want you to read the book when you get a chance. But I do have that area highlighted, and like I said, I cannot wait to do a reread. I cannot wait to do another reread. Okay. Gina said, I read a book for each prompt, but didn't finish the group book. I just haven't been in enough fake mode lately. I totally understand. And I think that it would have even gone very easier if this book was like at an audio format. Because this is like because I checked on Audible, I checked everywhere. I could not find the audiobook for this. And I think that was what also took a while for me with regards reading the book itself. So yes, but I totally get it not being in a non-fake mood. There are some non-fake books like I recently bought as well that I have just not been able to read at all. It's pray for me, pray for me. So excited for William. Yeah. I am still undecided on exactly who I want to be, but like G is amazing. For those that do not know, G over at Book Roast. She is the creator of Magical Readathon, and after all that bullshit that happened with JK Turflin, because the Magical Readathon was initially very HP centered, we're like taking the house and the news, etc. After the bullshit that happened with JK Turflin, she was like, okay, she's going to have to do a total rebrand, and she did. There was art, there's maps, there's backstory. G killed it. I'm just like, people, creativity. People are creative, y'all. People are creative. And speaking of creativity, because this is a perfect segue, I wanted to do a video, but like I said, I'm ill. And I was talking to my friends, and they were like, bitch, if you even think about posting shit tomorrow, because if you might notice I did not post anything last week either. The I'll create video I posted, I was fucking ill as fuck when I was filming and editing that video. But anyway, that's that. Speaking of creativity, my very good friend Brittany over at Melanin Eclectic, that is Melanin, Melanin, Eclectic, that's ECLECTIC, created her second edition of her reading journal. Reading journal. Okay, because you all have seen my reading journal, like I've shown it. It's very far, and I'm feeling very lazy. I don't stand up because I would have. What am I doing? Come with me. Let us show you the reading journal because you all need to understand this. I'm like, I'm lazy, but this is Brittany. This is Brittany's work. We ain't lazy for that. Okay, so this is the 2021 reading planner. Can you all see? I have been using. If you all notice, I have not actually been on Goodreads most of this year because, you know, I fuck Goodreads, but also I want to have a more personalized approach with regards, my work, not my work, by tracking my reading, and so Brittany came up with this personalized reading planner last year that I'm using this year. It's build your own reading journal the way you want it. So it's very freestyle, very putting the power in your hand, filled with such gorgeous art. The amount of work and effort that she put into this just blows me away. And this was last year. I got it last year. I've been using it throughout this year. And her next version, so I won't say 2022 because this one actually has 2021 and all of that. This new reading journal, you all, I have such talented, brilliant friends. The newest reading journal is stunning, gorgeous, perfection. So good. Once again, the first ever freestyle reading planner slash journal was done and created by my friend Brittany over at Melanin Eclectic, and currently her shit is open for pre-order right now. So I would just say, just go to melanineclectic.com. That's MELANINECLECTIC. Melanineclectic.com. Right there, that banner, you just be like reading journal. Just click on that and you will see all the goodies. Because when I got this, everybody was like, oh my god, Naria, that is so cool. It's now closed for pre-order because you all saw it like after, but I'm telling you now, the pre-orders are open. They're open till I think ending of next month or middle of next month. Like, no, the third week next month. So I will say go and grab it right now, or put a note, like note it down. If you have to budget, blah blah blah, anything else, just note it down. Get it as soon as you can. Get it during the pre-order. Get it while the pre-order is open. Don't say Noria never helped. Don't say Noria never helped you. I'm just saying that planner, just only the cover alone. Black mages. Mind blown. I'm just, ooh, I can't be screaming. It's nearly 11. It's nearly 11 my time. I can't be screaming like an idiot. Actually, it's already 11. Okay, so I'm just saying, please go check it out. Put in your pre-orders. Don't miss out. I'm just saying, don't miss out. Go, 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 go. Okay, so Amy said, okay, so okay, yeah, yeah. I asked about what book you read for the Fuck with Polyamory prompt. That would have been the Smutty Shifter book. Two Alpha needed a mate for life, and she needed a date, and wow, she got double love and respect. We love to see it. Whew, we love to see it. We love to see it. Oh my God. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yes, yes, yes. Merry Inkmas. Merry Inkmas. Merry Inkmas. Great. That is great. Ooh. Okay, Merry Inkmas for your plus size read. Restorative Justice was wild, baby. Love it. Love it. Polyamory. Do- you all know how much I love that Lily Brood, the Xenogenesis series by Octavia Butler. Gina, taste, taste. Immigration, Inside Out, and Black Again. Anti-colonial. Zara the Wintaker. Zara the Wintaker was so good. I think it is one of Neddy's most underrated books. Gina, please let me know. Did you not did you? Because I'm certain you loved it, but how much did you love that book? I loved it so much. Amazing middle grade book. NB and Sisterhood. The Good Luck Girls. I have been wanting to get the Good Luck Girls. Like, I've had friends that have read it and they've been like, Nora, you need to read this book. You would love it. Okay. War Girls ticked off many boxes. Twice the Growl ticked off the other half. Plus Size Girl, Pulling Love, and Fuck with Myself. I love it. Twice the Growl. Twice the Growl. I shall note it because, I think I've been reading, not been reading, it's been a while since I read Shifter romances, so I need to get back to Shifter romances. But I've been reading some Omega Verse fanfic. Good shit. Tati, where there is a will, there is a way. There is a way, Tati. I found it, and I'm just so happy. I'm very happy. I'm gonna have to check out that reading journal vid. Ooh, I like your journal. I feel like journal. I'm right. Goodreads cannot give you this. Goodreads cannot give you this, Amy. It cannot. It just cannot. Goodreads lacks the range. Which, by the way, look out for a new video. Not tomorrow because my friends are like, do not even think about it, Noria. But who knows? Maybe next week. I'm just saying. I have plans. I have an idea. I have an idea. But yes, I think that there's just a level of personalization that I get with the journal. It's awesome. I love. Ooh, let me show you. Here was when I decided I was going to go. There's just something about playing around with, washi tapes and just coloring that just makes everything just so much prettier. So much prettier. I I love it. I love it. And I think I'm just you should check out the yes, because Brittany did do an unveiling video. So just her channel, check out her channel. Also check out the website so you would have everything you need. But I love it. Good reason I cannot upload. It happens to me. Thank you. See, Tati has put in the website. The website is in the comments, people. There is the website, melanineclectic.com. Wait, hold up. Did I spell eclectic right? Because I think so. I think so. Because my everything was just looping in my head. Wrote it down. Smart move, Amy. Smart move. Good Girls was so good. Zara was fantastic. Of course, Zara was fantastic. It is Vanity Okora for Doctor. Doc. Let's put the doc, the respect in her name. Dr. Nedi Okora. Zara the Whimsical. Perfection. That book. Mm, I was like, that book contributed to my desire to actually lock my hair. Like, I read that book and I was like, okay, I want locks. So Like they're still in progress. They're still being in progress of being locked, but I'm locking my hair. Um, Gina says I like how she changed it up this year. I know, right? I know. I repeat, my friends, perfection, the brilliance of their creativity. I like how she changed it up this year. I bought the last journal, but didn't use it much because I read way too damn much. 50 to 25 books a month, so there wasn't enough. That was me, by the way, dying. Like that was me fainting. 15 to 25 books. That's a lot of books. That is a lot of books. And I am shooked because this year has been Noria is in a reading slump here. Like I told you, it took me 2 months to read 2 books, which you all know. You all know I used to be like back in the day being last year and 2 years ago. I used to read voraciously. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. But I feel the pain because I'm in a reading slump. And now I am reading my books very carefully because I don't know. I don't know when else I want to read again, but like, whew, 15 to 25 books. I am shook. And I'm so happy, Gina. Like, well done. Well done. Um, yeah, but I'm actually, I really, really do love the changes that Brittany made in her in this version 2 of the journal. She took in so much of yours feedback, the suggestions and things that you all liked and all of that. She took that in. That the version 2 of the Melanin Eclectic Reading Journal is a label of love and art and creativity and background magic, and it's just a combination of all these things. I love it, and woohoo, I cannot wait to use it next year. Which speaking of which, Gina, do you plan on getting it? Do you plan on getting the second version of the planner? Just curious. Or have you already gotten it? Sorry, I forgot to ask. I have no life and work like 1 day a week plus the pandemic. I'm up to 190 book for wow. Wow. 191 books. I'm just so many books. So many books. I'm actually hoping like this is really cool. I think it's awesome. I think that especially during the pandemic, right? Because a chance to just slightly get away from it all, right? And sink yourself into a fictional world and connect with fictional characters, I think is brilliant. So I'm actually really, really happy that you've been able to get more reading done during the pandemic. It's weird, but I think that part of what like happened for me as well was also the pandemic. Well, it's just that with the pandemic, I just started to take things much more slowly. And I think that that just also reflected or just, reflected in my reading as well. So, oh, thank you, Brittany. I'm reading with purpose. Thanks, Tati. Thank you. Ah! Okay, Brittany, I remember I am looking at the time, so my plan is actually to wrap this up in like see another 2 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. So that I'm like a little over an hour, but I did not hit my hour and a half, like, cutoff points. So I'm conscious of it. Also because it's like past 11. I need to take my meds. Actually, no. Firstly, I need to put something like food. But I'm not, like I said, I've not had any appetite because of the illnesses. Illnesses, brutal. For those that are just joining in, once again, your girl has malaria, typhoid, and food poisoning. So like shit has been hard. Um okay, fine, that's true. Hydrate. I also need to drink water. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me, Brittany. I will drink water. Yes. Hi, Jerry. Oh yes, so like I said, 3 nurses, and I have to take meds. I need to eat like a little bit food just so that I can have something in the stomach. Something fatty because I was told that for the drugs I'm taking, they are fat soluble. So I need to take something fatty and eat that and have it digest. We're like, two. So yes, water, food, meds, and then sleep. Hopefully sleeping till like maybe say noon tomorrow. Like, oh, I feel so smooth. I'll be lying in my bed. Yes, Tati. Shawarma. Sorry. I'm sitting but it's like I'm certain everybody watching this live will be like, what the heck? Why is Noria laughing at shawarma? It's a joke, people. It's a joke. But yeah, yeah, Tati. Some shawarma and then sleep. Like Brittany has mentioned, the friend council, they're like, do not go on live, Noria. You should be sleeping. And I was like, no, I already moved the live show once. I can't move it again. So I'm actually feeling very, very satisfied that I actually did it. I did a live show. And also, no, oh yeah, my internet was about to go. I also broke the rules and I spoke about the planner because I am that girl. I am that girl. I am amazing like that. Leo energy. Thank you, Amy. Yes, yes, because like technically we are now in Virgo season, but it's still my month, so I'm still claiming it has a little bit of it has a little bit sprinkle, tiny sprinkle, still on Leo. So I am all for it. Faculty read was Master of Poisons by Andrea Eston. Ooh, nice. I would go check it out after this, Njeri, because I know your book tastes spectacular. So I want to see it. I want to see it and I want to add it. But I didn't finish. Shout to PID because I had other reading commitments. Totally get it. Totally get it. Thank you, Gina. I am going to kick virus ass with my meds and hydration and food and sleeping. So yes. Yes, Brittany, I knew you were going to be like, it's already 5 minutes, Nora. Okay. So thank you all for coming to my live show. I appreciate it. It was very low key. I did no conversations. I even forgot to even tweet about it this morning, but you all still showed up and you were there, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for coming. This was so much fun. And remember, whenever you get a chance, if you have not already yet, you should totally check out We Do This Till We Free Us. I think that it is very important, crucial reading, especially if you're somebody who is either in abolitionist work or is curious about it, or even a baby abolitionist like myself. Like I think it's it's necessary. I think it's necessary reading. So yes. Um And oh, Gina is asking about the book in Jerry. She's asking if it's really good, if it was good. Jerry said she didn't finish it actually. Like she had to put it down because of all that reading commitment. So, but who knows? Maybe what she read so far. But I'm curious. I want to know how good it is so far. I love the FuckAthon merch. Thank you. Oh, and Jerry bought the t-shirts, sweatshirts, 2 mugs, 2 die-cut slippers. Britney's art was I'm just like, I keep saying, people, you all are sleeping on Britney and her creativity and her art. And I'm screaming at nearly 11:30 p.m. in my house. My neighbors are probably like, what the actual fuck? Girl, go to sleep like a normal person. I don't care. It's Britney's art. We love it. We love it. Um, yes, like Jerry said, you can still buy stuff. The links are constant throughout my videos. I actually do want to do incorporation thingy that you can do with Teespring, which I have to figure out later, but it's just weird, but I will figure it out. But yes, you can still get the merch. You can still get the merch on Teespring. You can still get the merch on Melanin Eclectic as well. So yeah, yeah. I want fuckathon slippers. Oh my god, imagine if I had fuck in one foot and then athon in the other. Comfort is looking at me like, bitch, what the fuck? Hey, baby. Yeah, it's very, very, very. What are you doing? See, everybody. So we're going to end this live with Compub. Um, Compub saying hello. Hey, Compub, wave to everybody. Be like, bye. It's like, what is happening? Fuck foot. Hashtag fuck foot. Ooh. Um. Okay, Gina. I would. I would be keeping fingers crossed. Like inheritance checks should come in. Keeping my fingers crossed that you get it in the next couple of weeks, like 2-3 weeks, because I think that the pre-order for the journals is closing on the 24th or 26th of September. I'm not sure, but no, I think 21st. So fingers crossed that, you know, fingers crossed that, sorry, come up. No, 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 no. Fingers crossed that the monies come in by then. Okay, so everybody, come probably saying hi. Is very impatient. It's like, bitch, it's 11 o'clock. I want to sleep. I am very bored and I would rather be anywhere but here face. It's just very fitting for my cat. Is it not? Hmm? Hmm? Hey, baby. It's like, no. It's like, I want to run away. Come on, you're not going anywhere. Let's say bye bye. Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming. See ya. Bye. Hmm. Oh, I love rubbing his tiny little nose.